way up here to pick up the Comet from Jason's shop, and of course, my luck, you know, you get back here on these little back roads and you try to make time, and then you get into these small areas, and I literally could see this freaking tractor pulling out in front of me right as I approached to the stop sign. And now there's no telling how long I'm gonna have to follow this guy and delay me even farther. But we're about to get to Jason's house. We got like 15 more minutes, and pull up to Jason's house, and I'm gonna let y'all check this stuff out. All right, so we are here to pick this thing up, and this thing is absolutely amazing. So Jason has this where these things come completely apart. I'll try to get a little better video whenever me and Mike put this on the lift. I can take a little more time. I'm trying to get this thing loaded up and get out of here for Jason. They're going to track at 3 o'clock, but he's got every individual one where they come apart. So he has cut the flange, and you take these apart piece by piece. So the amount of time that's in these, he's got about 4 days, he said, in these, whereas a normal kit will take him, I think he said, about 2 days. So it's just nuts. And he actually, the bill got so freaking high on this that he cut just a tad bit of break to try to help out. But every single one of these, so you unbolt these right here, okay, and then you unbolt this right here, and this whole piece comes off. And then what you do is you'll loosen the bolts up for each one, and they're not bad to get to. He tried to get it so that every single one you can get around stuff or from the top. He's tested everything, and you'll actually take each of these tubes out one at a time. Now, to get the starter out on this side, he couldn't quite cram all this in here where the starter would come out, but all you do is you unbolt this, and then you unbolt that side, and then you'll loosen this pipe up, and this will wiggle around enough. When this is loose, it'll go forward enough that you can pull the starter right out through here without having to take the whole headers out. So the headers are literally 5 pieces, I guess. You got 4 tubes, and then you got the collector. So I mean, these are just absolutely, custom, amazing works of art. And like I said, I'll try to show a little better when we get this thing back on the lift at Mike's, because I'm not trying to sit here and tie up a bunch of time, but I know I'm gonna dump this video out tonight for y'all. So I wanted to, just go ahead and show you real fast, and when we get to the house and get this thing unloaded, I'll show some shots from up top and everything. I just, not having the lift at the house, I told Jason that I was gonna snag, a little bit of footage underneath the car at his house, but he's just done, I mean, ridiculous work. He said that he believes that this is just about one of the hardest header kits that he's actually ever built. So he's built a ton of them, that this is just the tightest one, that he has packed so much crap into one small little area. So we're gonna get this thing loaded up, and then we will get this home, and we'll take some better looks at it from up top, and I'll show you the Procharger intake. All right, so she is back in the garage. All too familiar for all of us that's been on the channel forever, and this might be a new site for 50 new subscribers or so I think we've had since we've sent this car off. So what else left to do on this car? So I'm gonna show you a little bit more of Jason's work and talk about that, but I want to go ahead while this is on top of my head fresh. I posted a Facebook post, and a couple people had said, that there shouldn't be much left. We still got a decent little bit to go, but nothing is now holding us up from moving forward. The things that I have to fit in should be fit in before everybody else can get to the other stuff. So we got to do first startup. I have to get with Turbo John or Chris Moore on that and see which one of them wants to help do first startup. Chris has to add 2 more sensors, so it has to go back to Chris Moore's house for the wiring when it got done. If you remember that video, I got in the correct drive shaft speed sensor that has to be installed. We'll do that at Chris's house real fast and set the clearances on that, and then he has to do the MAC valve for the CO2. We have to run the CO2 line. So both of them items should only be about an hour. And then if John has too busy and Chris does first startup, we'll do it right there on the spot. What's left on the car? Let's run down the list real fast. So I have made a list here on the board. I'm gonna pound it off. So rear end load bolts. The load bolts in the rear end. The rear end housing. I forgot what it's even called. I mean, it's the cover, the differential cover. It's got the bolts in it that put a little bit of load on the bearings, so we need to torque them down. That's kind of a nut and bolt the car issue, but it needs to be done. We also need to check it for, we got to torque down the pinion, which I actually forgot to do when the drive shaft's out, so me and Mike have to take drive shaft back out when it's on the lift at the shop and torque the pinion. So that all has to be done on rear end, and I need to put rear end fluid in it. The transmission dipstick, we went over that in the previous video. I think I'm gonna go back to the other one, blah, 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 whatever. Transmission disc stick has to be resolved, whether we continue to build the shorty or whether I switch back to the other one, because I did figure out an issue of why the other one was hard to push down in there. No reason to go into detail. I figured out the issue. Now it goes in there nice and easy. I just got to see if there's a nice way to route it. So got to figure that out. The Zeus fasteners, we've said it 100 times because I'm lazy. The side of the wing, it gets Zeus fastener tabs. It's got Zeus fasteners to the tail light housing back there. I need to make them. Not a big deal. I'll make them probably tomorrow. The parachute mounts at the wrong angle. Jason Brazzel gave me the angle that I need to put the chute at pretty much and where it needs to be. So I need to whack off that parachute mount, and I'm gonna change that up. I might tack it here at the house, or I might do that on the lift at the shop. I don't know. I would love to kind of bend up the tubing here at the house and kind of tack it, but it is hard when you're by yourself and you don't have nobody to hold it. Whereas if, you know, if I can at least get it maybe bent up and have me hold it, Mike tack it. And then also here at the house, I have the Harbor Freight welder, so it splatters all over the place. Whereas Mike has the good welder, the Miller, and the TIG. So I don't know. It's got to be done. It doesn't have to be done for startup, but I just want to go ahead and get it done, because what's going to happen as soon as the car's fired, then with life moving on, you know what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up at the track. The parachute mount's still not going to be done. The parachute's going to be thrown into the ground. So we need to just go ahead and do that and not put it off like y'all and me put off honey to do stuff at the house when the wife wants you to do it. Let's not do that on the parachute. Let's just bang that out. The seat mounts, that's one thing that has to be done at the shop. We went over that before. The little back brace pieces that I kind of started to fabricate here, they need to be TIGged, so it's not splatter and weld all in the carpet. That's going to be a thing we're going to knock out at the shop this week. The nut and bolt the whole entire car, front to back, got to nut and bolt every freaking thing. The 4-link rear ends, bolts are not right. They need spacers put on them. I'm gonna go ahead and knock that here at the house. I'll probably make a trip to Lowe's tomorrow, grab a hole saw that I need, and maybe some washers or spacers. I'm gonna figure all that out tonight. Coolant, we need to put the coolant in the radiator, check for leaks, turn on the water pump. Chris has all that where it'll turn on, and add our, making a mess, add our coolant additive that we went over in a previous video. Same stuff that Big Chief uses. Chief went over in one of his videos. That's what we're using. That was $100. If you're new to the channel, I went over that in a previous video. Bleed the brakes. Remember previous videos, some of us have had conversations about the manual brake pedals. Never finished bleeding them, and there is a minor leak that Jason had dripping when he was working on it. So I need to check that leak out. So brake leaks, bleed brakes. Rear end fluid, we already said. Grease the ball joints. The ball joints have never been greased since the car was put together, so need to throw some grease in the fittings. Weld the inside of the front travel limiters. If you remember, we talked about it in the past. Mike's gonna do it at the shop. It's literally a 5-minute job, so he's just got to burn in the inside of them when it's on the lift. Vacuum plug on the intake. If you remember, the little port on the intake that cut off, I said I was gonna put a rubber vacuum plug on, still never did it. I'll hit Advance in the morning, grab that rubber plug, done. Fuel hat return. So the original return that I was going to use in the fuel hat does not have a plug in it. It's just open. So we need to order an AN fitting plug for that, because y'all told me to move it to the other side of the fuel cell so that it's not right there at the pickup. And that's what I did, but I never ordered a plug. So I need to order that tonight. Whew, let's rock and roll, baby. Brace 4-link. We got to brace them 4-links. We've talked about it a couple times. Throw the 2 extra bars in the top of the 4-link. While we're back there, we got to stand the shocks up, and we got to finish the anti-roll bar. So them tabs have to be coming there. So a handful of welding work still at the shop. Me and Mike will bring out, let's see here, throttle stop. Never did the throttle stop. We talked about it. Y'all gave me some ideas. Never did it. Throttle stop does not necessarily have to be done to go to startup or tune. But again, it's one of them issues where I'm going to be at the track. If I don't get it done, I'm going to get excited. I'm going to stomp the pedal. I'm going to tear something up because there's nothing there to stop the pedal. So I need to get that done. Let's see here, check the transmission shift lever engagement. So whenever you install a brand new transmission, you need to have somebody under the car and you sit in the car. I don't have no help here at the house really. So that's gonna be probably a shop thing. I need to put it in every gear and make sure Mike can pull the cable on and off the lever to make sure that your shift lever is not partially between gears or something that's gonna tear something up. So we need to check the engagement on that. CO2 lines we already went over with the valve, drive shaft speed sensor we went over, starter bolts. So I just got to check behind Jason. Jason was not responsible for anything with the starter, but I did ask him to move a stud from the bottom to the top. And then I think I'm missing the third bolt that he didn't have. I told him, or I didn't have. I told him I'd put it in afterwards. So I need to try to get in there, do that, and also need to make sure the starter works because I'm a idiot. I did not even bench test that starter before he put all them headers around there. So I might have already set myself up for failure because we might go to push the button on this thing and it not start. So we need to go ahead and do that. I need to holler at Chris and find out exactly what I need to do and what not to do to push the starter button just to make sure this thing at least turns over. So that way we make sure we're good on that. So starter, build the pan savers. So y'all already know how low this car sits. It sits stupid low. The headers are about 1/2 inch now below the oil pan. So we are on the freaking ground, man. This is a street car, not a tube chassis. So of course it's not laying in the weeds, as some people say, but she's low, she's really low. So we need to build like the Mustangs, you can order the pan savers. I can't order that for this car, so they have to be made. So we're gonna build some like skis, pan savers or whatever out of some tubing. I'll bend it up again here at the house and figure out where they're gonna go. We'll weld them in, bolt them in, whatever at the shop. Not a big deal, but that's important because we're gonna send this thing down the track trying to figure stuff out. And when are you most likely to wheelie? When you're trying to figure something out and you have the wrong setup, suspension's wrong, front end comes up, slams down, destroys all of these headers that we just did, oil pan, whole 9 yards. So got to get that done just for our safety so we don't mess up all this money I have invested into it. Timing pointer, John requested the Coyote timing pointer on the front of the motor. I got it, I'm going to install it. Converter spacers, remember we only had enough washers to do one. The guy that was going to build me the aluminum spacers, personal reasons he got tied up, can't do it. So we're going Home Depot style and stacking, you know, the washers in there. So we just need to do that when it's at the shop. Also, me and Mike messed up. I did not check my to-do list and we missed a sensor on the top back of the motor that needed to be tightened up when the mid plate was out the car. So the whole transmission might have to come back out. It's like an hour setback. It's not that big of a deal if we have to do that. Let's see here. Flat plate the rear end. We'll go over that when it's on the lift. Jason gave me some pointers on the rear end. He doesn't like how it was. Chris Moore actually already pointed out the same issue that Jason's seen. So 2 people pointed out an issue that had not talked to each other. We're gonna fix it. I'm gonna show you it and explain it to you when we get it on the lift. That's all gonna be more welding work. Wishbone needs to be done. I'm gonna figure that out here at the house, kind of, where it's gonna go, bolts, all that nonsense. But Mike's got to weld the mounts at the shop. Engine limiter. So you need a limiter when you have running engine plates and mid plates so that the motor don't go forward and backwards. Your plates hold the motor left to right, but it does not hold the motor forward and backwards. So you need a limiter. Jason did not have time to figure that out, and that was quite frankly the least of Jason's worries. So we were so limited on space with the headers, as you see, that it was kind of like they were priority. And then you have to figure out where to put, you know, everything else around them. So we might have to get creative on that lift. I'm gonna kind of poke around here at the house. It's probably gonna be a shop thing for the welding, but if I can at least figure out the way it needs to go. The engine limiter, I think you can either go from the plate forward or from the plate backwards. I don't think it really matters. I can't remember which side it needs to be on. I think I'm gonna call Turbo John to make sure that it doesn't matter real fast, and I need to figure out where that's gonna go. So that's the to-do list. That's the stuff that we kind of need to do, and there's still more. I think I can get all of this stuff taken care of before Sunday night, Monday morning, and then I think the car will go to the shop this week for welding. And then y'all, we might be seeing startup within 1 week or 2 weeks. First startup, we might. I'm gonna be on other people's schedule, not on mine, so it depends on how free they are. Let's rock and roll. Let's dive into this. Let me show you a little bit more on Jason's work and explain. All right, so here's our piece that Jason built for the Procharger. Now, our issue before, if you remember, we have talked about, if you're an OG to the channel, is that when you're driving forward, the wheels spin like this. They throw water like this. This is a street car. They throw rocks like this. They throw dirt like this. Shut down roads at end of tracks are dirty, and they sling rocks up. Guess where the Procharger mouth is? Procharger mouth right there. So the tires are turning like this. The tires are literally slinging dirt and rock right into the mouth of the Procharger. I messed up. I bought the Procharger in factory setting, I guess you could say, for a actual Mustang. If you're putting this in your Mustang, your Coyote, this is the way it would sit. Race car, it should have probably been flipped around. If it was a real race car, then it should have been down there on the cranks, but I didn't have the money to put it on the crank. So this is what I went, but I wish I could go back, flip it around so that the intake was facing forward. But it is what it is. We now have to deal with it. Again, I built the car, messed up, did not build the car around the motor and the Procharger. So I built the car and then I had to make everything fit. So giant fail on my part, but it won't happen on the next car. With that being said, do y'all remember the issue with this? The clearance on the Procharger to the tube, as you can see, I can't even fit 2 fingers in there. It's really tight. So you can't exactly just put a tube on there and bring it up or bring it out because it literally won't fit. So what had to be done was I ordered this 90. This is what normal people would put on. You'd put it on the Procharger and then it can breathe through the hood. You'd cut a hole in the hood so that, you know, it's like that or whatever. That way it can take all the air in. You know, if y'all remember Murder Nova, Sean and them, they had cut it in there for their turbos, cut fresh air inlets in their fenders. But we are putting it through our hood. The issue is you can't put this piece on there. It's not going to clear. Okay, so what Jason had to do was he had to clearance it. So he has built this trick piece, as you can see. I mean, Jason's just freaking amazing, y'all. He's went in here and did this. Now, what I was originally going to do was I was just going to try to coat this out and then make it where it wraps around the tube and then it seals up with a some foam tape like we had that other little junky piece. But Jason come up with a better idea and went ahead and plated it on the inside. So this thing is 100% airtight, watertight, dirt tight, rock tight, frog tight, rat tight, everything, and will be fed through the hood. And we'll have to put some kind of screen on this side, you know, or the top. Top probably look ugly, so we'll probably get a screen over that. I'm thinking Home Depot, Lowe's, like a garage sliding glass door screen or something, just something to freaking keep a little bit out. But it basically sits like that. Y'all, how freaking trick is that, man? Jason is just freaking real. I'm highly satisfied with Jason's work. So that's what it's going to look like. And it will, he left it a little long, so it will probably stick up out of the hood. If we need to go longer or something, you know, I'm pretty sure he's got it where it sits pretty straight. It's just kind of sitting in there balancing right now. But if we need to add on anything, Mike can weld a little extension on it. But I think that's going to be plenty fine. It's just an intake, so it's not like it has to actually stick through the hood. But Jason said he left it long. But that's what it will look like coming off the Procharger. And you can see it does stick up above the fender. So hopefully we won't have no issues with that. But that's the reason why I need to run to Lowe's and buy a 4.5 inch thing, because we need to drill the hole and then put the trim laying around in it just to finish the paint off so it looks good. And that is going to be our intake for the Procharger. So the headers are a little bit harder to see from up here. I'll try to fish y'all down there, but you can see where they're individually, you know, done. I don't know how the sound quality is because I'm shoving my phone way down there. But I mean, it's just absolutely amazing, Jason's work. I'm beyond happy with it. I mean, it's just, I never in my wildest dreams would have dreamed that I would own something like this or anything. I mean, look at this, man. That is just, it's freaking crazy. You know, the clearance that, you know, had to go on with this. I mean, between how low this freaking car sits and I'm getting down here on the floor, you know, everything is just, it's nuts. I mean, look at, it's all wrapped around everything. I mean, his workmanship is just absolutely freaking phenomenal, man. Like, I couldn't be more happier with that. I mean, try to get y'all some shots. I mean, it's just, it's crazy. We do have to, me and Mike has to, not me, Mike has to weld on my headers and do the turn downs. I ordered them. Jason didn't do the turn downs. That was not part of our plan. But I mean, you've seen this better on his lift, how everything was wrapped around. And I'll show you again on Mike's. I got to go in there and make sure the wires are clear. I got a couple other things to move. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't be more happier with that. The big question that probably some people are wondering is, what did I pay for this level of custom headers? Now remember, each of these headers come apart into 5 pieces. So you have 10 pieces total to this header that are completely removable. Jason has also set this up for us to go zoomies. So I was kind of holding that out on y'all. Didn't want to tell you right away, but we may go zoomies. So what he has done is where he has put the collector at, which is where your 4 primaries come into the collector. If you don't 100% know, I might even be saying that wrong. The big piece is 4 inches. He's got it so that that piece can come off. And what he's already thought out in his head is he will be able to go back and build another piece that slips on. So you'll pull your collector off that goes from 4 to 1, and then he'll build another piece that slips on and goes 4 to 4. So we'll be able to come out the side down here with zoomies. To get started, I'm kind of thinking maybe some daily driver classes, street classes that require a muffler, because the way I'm going to set this up is the dumps are going to be V-band dome, and so I'll easily be able to do 2 feet of exhaust system off of each side, true duals with a muffler that just hook right in with the V-band, maybe have 2 points under the car that are nut certed that it just bolts right in. I want to be able to put a dual exhaust system with dumps at the axle on this car in about 15 minutes once it's up on the lift, not lifting it included. But once you have it up on jack stands or whatever, 15 minutes, and you can switch it over to mufflers. That's 15, 20 minutes. That's kind of where my goal's at. So very easy to switch this over is the plan, be able to take the dumps off. But then also later on, since he has the collector where it unbolts, is we will be able to go and put zoomies on, or we'll be able to have all the setups. We'll be able to just bolt zoomies on if we want to make power and race a bunch every single weekend. Or if it gets wintertime and we're going to street drive it, or we have a class coming up that needs exhaust, then we will be able to do that. He has not built the zooming pieces yet. We will grow into that. It's set up, already done for me, where all I got to do is run it back to him and he'll finish the zoomies out of the car. The each primary had to be where it would come apart, because you physically, there's not enough room to put the whole header in there in one piece. There's just too much stuff in the way. You're never gonna build a one-piece header and get it to snake around everything. I don't know if the video is portraying exactly how tight this fit is. If anybody sees this car at the track, you probably won't be able to see underneath it. But if you could see underneath it, maybe even when we get to the shop and I show a little more video of Mike's lift, the space, the real estate available is just not there. You're not putting one header in. So that's the reason why each primary comes undone. So you basically pull your collector off and then you do 1 primary, 2, 3, 4, etc. and get them all out, you know. And that way you don't have to take the whole header out either if you need to, you know, like the starter side, you need to only, you know, undo 1 or 2 to do certain things. So super nice, workmanship's top quality. I'm super happy with it. I can't say enough good about it. So Jason's work is just unbelievable. I never would have even thought about basically 5 pieces to a header. You know, I would have never, I mean, if I would have tried to build it myself, we would have been trying to figure out some way to cram all that crap in there. I mean, he's just being able to think outside the box like that and have the experience to do that is absolutely freaking amazing. So huge shout outs to Jason. Greatly appreciate it. I know you don't even watch YouTube that much, so I just wanted to let y'all know, because I had a lot of comments about the John Doc stuff. You know, and hopefully Jason don't screw you over. Jason did opposite of screw me over. He went above and beyond, and just, I don't know. It's a lot of money to get Jason to build you something custom, but it's like the best of the best. So again, I'm happy. What would it cost to do this? So I spoke with Jason. I'm not gonna release or disclose exactly what I paid for the headers for a couple reasons. Primary, the materials change. So from the time that he did a last set of headers and he bought the flanges and the header kit, because you buy, you know, the flanges for what you need, and then you get a kit where all the pipes come in it, you know, and everything. The material has went up, he said, $300 from the last time he bought this kit. So that was a shocker that he did not expect when he originally quoted me the price, and I completely understand it as a business owner. So I fully get that. And then to build Randy's car, y'all have seen the turbo header kit of Randy's car. It's beautiful. There's a ton of pipes. A ton of custom stuff. Of course, the whole front end comes off a little easier to work around, way easier actually. It took him 2 days to build Randy's kit. So Jason said it took him 2 days to build Randy's kit, and for my car, it took 4 days to build these headers. He turned his hours into me. He has them broke down, organized by the day, exactly how many hours he clocked a day, what he bills at per hour. Not going to disclose what he bills at per hour. You call him, you want to get on his schedule, you talk price with him. But I can tell you that to get something like this, of this level done, depending on how tight yours is, you know, so many factors play a role when you're getting custom work done. I mean, you can't, it's not just, it's literally one off. So if you have something different than I have, you know, or whatever, every car is gonna be different, it changes. I did pay, and you can expect to pay between $3,500 and $4,500. So me and Jason agreed to give out a 1,000 buffer window right there to protect him and to protect me. We don't want nobody calling him up and saying, hey, seen Courtney's work. I would love to get on your schedule, and his price is $200, $500, $800 off of what I paid. And then somebody throw in his face, well, such and such only paid this. So expect for this level of work, $3,500 to $4,500 for stainless headers. These are 2 1/8 inch primaries and 4-inch collectors. The exhaust ports on the motor are, let's say they're this big, okay? The headers in relation to that are this big. So the motor will absolutely have no problem breathing. And if you have an opinion on the size of the headers or anything, then drop them below. We'll listen. But here's the deal. TKM built the motor. TKM is tuning the motor. TKM is who I'm calling if I have issues with the motor. Kevin said out of his own mouth in his email to go as big as we can physically fit under the hood. He said he would love an 1 7/8 at minimum. He said he did not want anything smaller than an 1 7/8 on this motor, that he wanted it as big as possible. I emailed Kevin back and I said, Jason said we can go 2 1/8 to 4-inch collectors. Kevin said, perfect. So Kevin's happy, owner of TKM, with the header choice, the header size, and all of that. I think in the end of the day, that's all that matters. If your engine builder's happy with it, your tuner's happy with it, and if he happens to be the same person, then how can you go wrong, right? So that's a little information on my car, my Coyote stuff. I bet this video is gonna be long, but we needed to kind of catch up. I didn't want to throw out a 10, 15-minute video and drag this stuff out. So before I started working, I wanted to just kind of catch y'all up to date on where we're at and explain everything. Let me see if I'm missing anything. I think we're gonna go live Sunday also to answer any of these questions. So if you have questions, go ahead. Maybe drop them below. Maybe I'll go back and read the comment section, and I will try to answer them immediately because that's just what I do. But maybe I'll go more in depth and detail. But yeah, I'm like out of breath. I'm trying to cram 1 hour of information in however long this video is. So let's cut this, let's wrap this, let me get to work, and I'll either see y'all on Sunday afternoon. I'll probably post the time. I'm thinking after Harper goes to bed. She goes to bed at like 7:30. So I'm thinking we'll do it late. That way everybody's home settled in. So maybe like 8 o'clock or something. And maybe we'll go live and do question and answer because we're about to be rocking and rolling hopefully on this thing. And all that Monday afternoon, I hope to bring the race trailer home and put Percy in her new box for the first time. We have to do the straps, the tie down points in the floor, the grip tape on the floor. We have to do all of that and get her ready to start doing some highway miles. So let's get at it. Like, comment, subscribe, share, smash that notification button if you haven't already did it, and I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks, y'all.